What's up, everybody? It's theRCLman here. Welcome to podcast number 42. Today, I'm going to talk at you about my experience at my very first convention. Yay, I went to a convention. Yay. Let's see. And then we'll get to some new stuff. I got some Fortnight stuff. I got some Xbox stuff. I got some PlayStation stuff. All sorts of stuff there. And then we'll talk about some stuff I'll be doing in the future on this very channel. But before we get to all that, my experience at my very first convention. So I try to always bring like some kind of story or something now to the beginning of the podcast, just so we can start kind of light. I don't know if you'd say lighthearted, but start, don't start with the news, start with something else. So I went to the Southeastern Game Exchange. I keep wanting to say expo, but exchange. Basically, I mean, it was a very small convention in my hometown, which I thought was really cool. Like, I've never been to one, so I just figured I'd go. Like, I don't know, like I said, I've always wanted to go to conventions, so just wanted to go. But then also I figured usually at conventions, that's a good place to like network, to like meet people, meet, other YouTubers, meet business people, you know what I mean? Like if there's anybody from a indie game developer that might be able to give me a code or something, you know what I mean? Get some free games or something, But then, yeah, the real main goal there was to, meet people, which honestly I failed at miserably, but that's fine. Actually, it's kind of weird. There was another podcast that I listened to, and just before I went, I listened to a podcast where one of their viewers asked them, "Hey, I'm going to my first convention. What should I do?" I swear it wasn't me. They kind of told them, they were like, get the schedule and look to see what panels there are, plan out what you want to do. And even though this was a lot smaller, it wasn't like a huge convention where there's a whole bunch of lines and demos and stuff like that. There was a couple. There were a couple VR demos, but I was like, I'm not going to wait in line. That doesn't matter. So I went to a couple panels. I went to, speedrun panel, which was kind of, just in case he watches, I don't want to say anything negative about it. It wasn't that great. And I mean, I guess he knows that because it wasn't his fault. Like the equipment wasn't working or whatever. But it's so weird, my experience there, because I'm so not a talk. Like I'm such a closed off individual, somebody who doesn't talk to a lot of people, at least not. If I don't know you, I'm not the kind of person to just walk up to you and be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know what I mean? But it was weird. He was streaming and he was like, "Hey, I need a volunteer." And I guess it's this weird thing where if it becomes a business or like transactional or like on camera, I'm somehow more comfortable. I don't know how to explain it. So he was like, "Hey, I need a volunteer to do the timer or whatever." And I was like the only one in the crowd. I was like, "Hey, I'll go up there and hit the button or whatever. Just try and get involved or something." And I talked to him later and we exchanged cards and whatnot. He was one of the few people. Well, no, he was literally the only person I talked to at the convention. And I mean, I think I'm going to try and, talk to him, maybe do collaboration or something, but I haven't got that far yet. Then there was this retro gaming panel that I went to, and kind of felt out of place there because my channel is not, this is actually where most of the YouTubers were. My channel is not about retro gaming. But I figured if I went, maybe I could talk to some YouTubers, learn something. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I went there and I didn't talk to anybody, of course. But it was so weird because everybody knew each other. Like it was the retro gaming panel, gaming community panel. And that's what it was. I feel like I was the only one there that was just not in... everybody knew each other. Everybody was like, "Hey, such and such is here in the back," and somebody else would walk in and be like, "Oh yeah, hey, what's his name's here?" And I'm sitting there in this shirt just like, I'm just gonna listen, I guess. I don't know. But eventually, and I mean, I was gonna save it for later, but I eventually did get in contact with one of them, and I want to try and contact the other ones, try and do some collaboration stuff, you know what I mean? So hopefully it's not all for a waste, you know what I mean? Did cosplay stuff. There was a cosplay panel about how to make money doing cosplay. I actually feel like that was pretty educational, not just for cosplay, but also for YouTubers, like how to do, how to do your stuff on social media, and like what a media kit is. I didn't even know what that was, and she kind of showed us, and I thought it was pretty cool. And there was a cosplay contest that I was there for. Kind of probably shouldn't have stayed there for that. I mean, it wasn't bad, but there were, I don't know. It was a cosplay contest. What can I say? So yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. And I do, even though my first experience, like that was my first convention ever, that was my first attempt to ever, talk to anybody, to do like somebody, with a lot of subscribers, not a lot, but like 3,000 subscribers, my first attempt to ever talk to them, even though it happened a couple days later online. It was there. But even though the experience wasn't necessarily the best, I still want to go to more, you know what I mean? Maybe meet other people, and I just need to not be so closed off. I don't know. But that was just me. And again, not again, but I went there by myself. So that was kind of another thing. If I had went there with a friend or with somebody else, like I feel like maybe it would have been a better experience. But I mean, I was there by myself. So I'm this one guy walking around being real timid and not wanting to talk to people. Anyway, we've wasted enough time on the convention thing. I went to it. Hopefully some things will come out of it. We'll see in the future. Let's get started with the game news, shall we? Okay, so video game news stuff. First off, Epic Games is teasing a crossover between Fortnite and Borderlands. So basically what happened was the Fortnite Twitter account posted an image, and I'll put it up here. It's just kind of like a random collage of a bunch of Fortnite images, and it said with the caption, "When you see it, ... And when you look at that, there's a fairly obvious picture of a Psycho from Borderlands. It's got like the Borderlands like V thing on it. So I mean, it's clearly right there. So essentially, that's like a tease that they're gonna do something Fortnite and Borderlands 3, since Borderlands 3 is coming out. That kind of makes sense because on PC at least, Borderlands 3 is gonna be an Epic Store exclusive. Epic makes Fortnite, so there you go. That's hopefully cool. You know what I mean? Hopefully it'll end up being good, and they'll get a little bit more sales out of it or something. I'm assuming that's the main thing here, is that you want to try and push that Epic Store and, get more sales for Borderlands 3. Although it's already going to sell well unless somebody's holding out for, not wanting it to be on the Epic Game Store. And if they don't want that, buy it on PlayStation, buy it on Xbox. Come on, it's coming out on all platforms. What are you doing? Next thing here would be Xbox One DIM exclusives. That's right. So, over the past year, and we've talked about it before, they've been acquiring a whole bunch of publishers. They got Ninja Theory. They have Obsidian now, who's making is it Outer Worlds or Outer Worlds, I believe. That game looks really fun. They made Fallout New Vegas, and then we've got Double Fine, who made the Psychonauts, and they're making another Psychonauts. So, they got a whole bunch of studios they're acquiring, and at the time of acquiring these studios, they all have like prior obligations to other things, or other platforms rather. So for instance, Obsidian with Outer Worlds, I keep getting it mixed up with Outer Wilds. I think it's Outer. I hope I'm saying that right. I might be mixing them up, but either way, with their game, I think it was already said, hey, this is going to come on PlayStation 4. But essentially, Microsoft gave a statement saying that going forward, these studios will focus on making games for Xbox, for their platform, and they don't have any plans to put them on any other platform. So once everything kind of gets done, all of their prior, projects that are working on a Switch or PlayStation or anything like that, once they get done, actually, there's one. Oh no, that's something else. It's similar. I'll talk about it here in a second. But yeah, essentially, once that's done, then they're gonna focus on just the Xbox exclusives, because that's the thing that Xbox, I think, has lacked in the past generation. They don't have any real. They have a couple exclusives, like Sunset Overdrive was an exclusive, which kind of relates to the other thing. Last week we talked about Sony getting Insomniac. Insomniac has the same deal. They have this game coming out called Stormland, which is an Oculus exclusive. And, you know, if they are now a PlayStation company, they have to finish their obligation to Oculus. So it's kind of like the same deal with both of them. They both acquire studios. These studios have previous agreements with other platforms. And they're like, hey, once you get done with that, you're strictly on our platform. We bought you. So that's basically that. Let's see. The last thing here is the PlayStation 5 news. Well, not really. It's speculation, really. So there was a new patent discovered. A new patent that was filed by Sony Interactive Entertainment for a cooling system. Or is it called a cooling system? An electronic cooling system. That's what it's called. It's this weird, like, it looks almost like a VR headset. I'm sure it's not as big as one, obviously, and it's got like a whole bunch of vents on the side and like vents all over the place. And I imagine that this is because if you know, and I don't know if you've watched the streams at all or anything, the PlayStation's whiny. PlayStation 4 is like whiny, especially the older ones. They're just like, you know, all the time. I mean, it depends on how intensive the game is. But if you're playing VR, it's going to whine. If you're playing some really graphically intensive games, it's going to whine. They most likely would like to fix that for the PlayStation 5. You don't want that thing whining, especially, you know, how far they've come. So, yeah, hopefully that this will be used in it. Or if it is currently being used, it's probably only being used for dev kits, which are like... The studios will send out, or not the studios, the platforms, whatever, they'll send out the dev kits, which are just, you can't, like, non-commercial versions of the new systems, just so people can develop games on them. And, so yeah, if it is in use right now, it's in one of those systems probably. It's not confirmed that it's going to be used in a new PlayStation, but, you know, that's a potential leak for PlayStation 5. There were some other news things, but, you know, most of them just kind of I just felt like I didn't really care that much about them. I'll just mention them real quick. Let's see. WoW Classic hit like 1 million, 1 million viewers or whatever on Twitch because it just came out. But then they also had a whole bunch of people trying to play, and so the servers are all backed up. Let's see. What else is there? There's a whole bunch of Gamescom stuff, but nothing really I wanted to focus on. Last week, I feel like I focused more on it than this week. And then, let's see, last thing I'll say here, PewDiePie hit 1 million, or 100 million, which is a ridiculous number. You know what's funny, though? I guess it doesn't matter. I checked T-Series after I saw he hit 1 million. T-Series only at 109 million. Still close. I mean, it's a difference of 9 million, but when you have 100 million, what is 9 million? You know what I mean? Anyway, congratulations to him. Congratulations. Anyway, yeah, let's go on to channel stuff. All right, we got a real short channel stuff here. Up to 336 subscribers. Not a big jump, man. I gotta do something, man. I'm thinking about maybe trying to do. Last time when I really focused on Rec Room, because that's where most of the subscribers come from. I got more subscribers, and it's kind of a thing where I still like Rec Room. I know I've said before that I'm kind of done with it, but I do still like Rec Room. I need to find a way to make a compelling content for Rec Room. I don't know. I just got to figure out something to do with the Rec Room content, or I need to jump niches completely. You know what I mean? They have a new event coming in Rec Room, so maybe I'll definitely probably do a video on that or a stream on it or something. Let's see. Been loving No Man's Sky. Been playing No Man's Sky. I really, really like that game. Surprisingly, I did not think I was going to get as into it as I am. I really think it's the VR that's making me want to just like walk around and play in it, and like all the planets and the weird creatures and everything. I don't know. I just really like that. And then I mentioned going to the convention earlier. Mentioned talking to that one guy. I've talked to one of the other YouTubers that was there at the convention now on Twitter. And I've started to kind of try and do some collaborations with people. So if by some weird thing one of you is watching or listening to this that I've contacted, or if you're like a small YouTuber, I don't know if I want to say that really, because I don't mind doing collaborations as long as they're actual collaborations. You know what I mean? Because before, it's been a situation before where it's like, yeah, I'll do a collaboration video with you. And then, I mean, it's just chaos and nothing actually happens. Like, it's just like, okay, well, we can't turn this into a video because it's literally just screaming and ridiculousness. So, I don't know. We'll just hopefully I can get some guests for the podcast. Hopefully I can do some collaboration videos with other people, kind of get the name out there a little bit more. But yeah, that's about it, man. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining me for podcast number 42. I did enjoy the convention, although I wish it had gone better, if you know what I mean. If you did like the podcast, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, everybody. RCLman out.